software on this computer. Perfect. So before we start, let's define some basic terminology. First of all, what is a package? A package. A package is an archive that contains binaries of software, configuration files, and information about the dependency of those particular files. A dependency is nothing but software that's needed for other software to run. A library is nothing but reusable chunks of codes that multiple programs can use. A repository is a collection, a large, very large collection of software available for you to download. It's like a data bank for software. Ubuntu's repositories are the following. We have main, universe, restricted, and multiverse. The definition of the four are right there in front of you. You can read it and go over it as you wish. The Debian Package Management System, or DPMS, is what we use for installing and managing software. Debian package names end with the extension .deb. All the files that are packages in Debian have that extension. At the core of the DPMS is the dpkg program or Debian package application. dpkg works in the back end of the system. It does all the heavy lifting when it comes to installing the software. It deals with the dependencies, it deals with the libraries, it deals with us everything. Everything in the back end to get the program installed. dpkg can directly manipulate that .deb files or that .deb files. Various other wrapper tools exist for, for managing dpkg. It is those wrapper tools that we most of the time use for installing software in Debian's systems. dpkg is a low-level tool. Therefore, a wrapper tool is what you should always use to install software. dpkg should be very rarely used for installing software because it's extremely powerful. It's like a Ferrari with no brakes and no steering wheel. So you gotta know where you're going and how to get there if you're gonna be using dpkg. How do we install software in the command line? It's very simple. It's very simple. You'll be surprised how simple it is. You have seen me doing it already. For that, we use Apt. It's not the only tool that we use, but it's the first one that we're gonna look at. Apt, or Advanced Package Tool, is a set of tools for managing Debian packages. Apt handles dependencies in software. But what does that mean? When you talk about handles dependency, does it mean that it goes and takes care of it? Like, what's that? That's exactly what that is. dpkg does the following. Oh, you want to install Google Chrome? Okay, no problem. But Google Chrome requires these other 20 programs for you to install. I'm going to go there. I'm going to get these 20 programs that you need, and then I'm going to install Google Chrome. And by the way, this is the list of the programs that you need to install Google Chrome. Do you agree? Yes or no? That's what dpkg does. That's what apt does. It automates the installation of that particular software. It does all of that. It resolves the conflict. It gets it done. Period. It can install multiple programs at a time and resolve the dependencies for all of them at the same time. Apt can do installation resuming. What does that mean? Simple. You were installing a Steam because you wanted to play some Call of Duty on your computer. But out of a sudden, you lose electricity, your computer shuts off. When you turn by your computer and you try to install the program one more time, it doesn't start from zero. It starts from when it left off. That's amazing. That to me is one of the best features a package manager can have.
This is like a temporary storage, Professor?
It just keeps track of where you are.
Okay.
That's it. Especially when you lose internet connection. That's to me is the best part.
It only saves it for like certain amount of like time or just
Uh, that I will have to get back to you on that because I have never tested for how long that is kept.
oh
That I
okay.
gotta get back to you. Just remind me to so I can go back into and take a look at the documentation. I literally have never asked my question in the past before.
Okay.
APT can also search packages using what is called the local cache. The local cache is the Ubuntu knows where to find software and it keeps that information in the local cache. APT can take a look at that and say, okay, I have that program if you wanted to install and I know where to get it. Apt is also used for updating the system. Now, how does Apt know where to get all this information from? There is a file in your Linux system. It's located in this directory over here. And don't worry if this looks Chinese to you, if this just doesn't make any sense, because when we talk about the Linux file system, you will understand what that particular address means. So this directory over here, this file called sources.list, contains a list of where Ubuntu can go and get programs from. Now, how do you update your system? You see, by the way, it's something that you're gonna do on your next lab. But how do you do it? How do you update your Ubuntu system? Obviously, you can do it in the graphical way, but that's not for us. I mean, we cool. We are cool. So we do the thing the cool way, the hard way. We type stuff in a command line. Let's understand this command. And to help you understand this command, I built an interactive tool. Let's start with the first part. What is sudo? What is that? I see you typing that a lot. What is this? Well, managing software is an administrative task. So it requires privileges. It requires higher privileges. It requires you to be an administrator. In Linux, when you want to run a particular task as an administrator, the highest level, what we call the root, we use the word sudo in front of it. It will allow you to run that particular command as if you were the administrator of the system. It will obviously ask you for the password of the administrator. Apt is the program that we use. That's the program that we use for updating the system. Update is the argument or the parameter, right, that apt takes, pretty much the task that apt is going to do for you. In this case, it's going to update, but update in the Linux world doesn't mean the same as in the Windows world. Update means go to the list, the sources.list file. Make sure that you have the latest version of where these files are located at and where all the repositories are at, and then get back to me. That's what update does. This particular semicolon over there, or column, yeah, this particular column there, you put it in there when you want to run another command in the exact same line as the command that you're typing. So instead of you typing two commands, type one and then the other, you put a colon and then you type the other command. And the terminal knows that after the column, there is another command to be executed. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes,
Perfect.
Professor.
Now, you already know what sudo is, so there is no point of explaining those two. Upgrade is the next task that apt is going to do. Upgrade does do what update in Windows does. It then goes and get the latest version of every program that you have installed in your system, boom, and then installs it. That installs everything on my system. I can run that, go grab a cup of coffee, and come back and continue working on my system because Linux doesn't force me to restart my computer after an update unless it is a security update or a kernel update or something or something like that. And still, you can keep on using the computer until you are done with doing whatever you need to do and you want to restart yourself. See, Linux doesn't put a gun in your head on anything. It lets you choose. The minus y in the corner is a flag used for telling, hey, APT, for any question that you're going to ask me, yes or no, I want you to assume that I say yes. So it auto answers yes to any question APT has. Because once APT get the list of the files that need upgrading, it's going to tell you, hey, these are all the files that I'm upgrading. Do you want to upgrade them, yes or no? When I pass the minus y, it will automatically assume that yes, that I want to update the system. Any questions about how to upgrade and update your system, your Linux system?
No.
Professor, I have a question about something else.
Yeah, go
So,
ahead.
my laptop just like disconnected, so I had to rejoin on Zoom or on my
Mhm.
phone. Did you take attendance while I was
I
disconnected?
did. Send me an email so that I can correct it if I ask your name and you were marked absent.
Okay, no problem.
No problem. No questions about how to upgrade your system. And I bet you that by the end of this class, you're going to hate Windows.
So I have a question, Professor, about the previous slide. If we
Mhm.
don't put minus y, how are we gonna agree to some questions the
Would you like me
system
to
gonna
answer or would you like me to show it?
totally up to you.
I'm going to show you.
Perfect. Thank
It's
you.
more fun. I'm going to install a program. So I'm gonna do sudo apt remove screen fetch. I probably have it installed. Great, I had it installed. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm gonna clear the screen. Now I'm going to install it. Sudo apt install screen fetch. Now my computer doesn't ask me for my password because I have it configured so that it doesn't. Because only I in my house use my computer. So I don't need to put my password for everything. I modify the way Linux work on that particular way, doing what is called modifying the sudoers file. I can teach you how to do it if you want to, but I don't recommend newbies to do that because if you break your sudoers file, it's very difficult to repair it.
Okay.
See what it's asking over there? Hey,
Yes or no?
I am
Okay.
going to install this program. It has all of these dependencies over here. Do you want to continue? Press Y to continue and to abort.
All right.
So I'm going to type Y and I'm going to press enter. But I want you to look at something real quick. You see that the Y is being capitalized here?
Yeah.
That means that yes is the default answer. So if I don't type nothing and I just press enter, the command line understands that I want to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you very
And by
much.
the way, the program that I installed, Screen Fetch, is used for showing information about your system in a nice and pretty manner, like this. That's what it does. That's all the program does.
Okay. Thank you, Professor.
No problem. Okay, so how to install software with apt? Okay, it's very simple. You put the word sudo in there because it's an administrative task. You put apt, and then you put the word install, which is the task you want to accomplish, and then you put the name of the program. Done. Done. I didn't have to go to a website to download a setup. Didn't have to do none of that. I didn't have to be worried that, oh my God, I might get a virus. Done. Here is an example in the screen. I just installed an application there. If you want to remove the software, guess which word do you use?
Remove.
Yeah, remove. Done.
Is the command line case sensitive? Does it matter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Does
Is
matter.
it
Linux,
punctuation?
Unix, Mac OS, they're all case sensitive. Windows is the one that's not case sensitive. Linux is
Okay.
case sensitive. So always
Uh,
keep that in mind.
do we use a tab before sudo or no?
No, that's just a space.
Just the space.
That's just a space.
Default
Is it
space.
punctuation sensitive? Since I saw,
What do you mean
since we,
punctuation sensitive?
I mean, like, so the semicolon means something. It means that we're
Yeah, but
separating
because
the
the semicolon
commands.
is a command on its own.
Okay.
Well, it acts like a command on its own. It's more than that, but you can understand it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, because I could do this. Look, I could do this, right? I could do sudo. Actually, I'm just gonna do a shorthand, which is I can do install screen fetch, neo fetch, and then do echo all done, right? And I'm telling my command prompt, I want you to run this program, and as soon as you're done running this command, run this command,
Okay.
right? And when it does exactly that. You see how we printed all done in the bottom.
All done. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all that. But I could do it the following way too. I can tell that just run this program, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just run this program, and then run the other program by me typing it. But that to me is more work than the necessary. If I
Yeah,
can do it
that's
in a
right.
single line, I'd rather get it done in a single line.
Makes sense.
You can also do the following, which I really love about the command line, right? You can tell Linux only run the following program if the first program executed successfully. For example, I'm gonna do echo all done and echo it worked. But if this command over here doesn't execute successfully, the next command doesn't work. For example, if I do echo And echo D is not a program. That doesn't exist. That that's just a typo.
Mm.
Nothing works.
Yeah.
I really like that. That feature, I hope that in this class I get to teach you how to write programs in Linux, how to write what is called shell scripts. If I get to that point, you're gonna see how useful that feature is. Now, any question about how to install software?
No.
It's easy so far, right?
Yeah. The only
Okay.
thing you have to know, like the.
Here are a couple of examples.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like examples. The first one, install several programs in a single command. I want to install Firefox, Flameshot, and Caffeine. I don't want to type 3 commands. I want to type only one. Sudo apt install Firefox, Flameshot, Caffeine -y because I'm gonna go get some coffee and I want you to do everything on your own because by the time I come back, I want to log into to Firefox. How about I want to remove programs in a single command because I don't need them anymore? Simple. Remove and list every program divided by a space, and I'm done. All you have to do is put in a space in between the word and you're done. How about remove and install at the same time? Sounds crazy, right?
Yeah.
But you can. All you have to do is do a plus sign in the at the end for adding and a minus for subtracting. The minus represents removing the program and the plus represents installing the program. For example, in this one over here, I am installing Firefox, I am removing Flameshot, I am removing Caffeine, and I'm adding VLC. Isn't that cool?
Yes, Professor. Can you keep the screen for a little? Just taking some notes.
You have access to this PowerPoint.
Oh, okay.
But everything that I show you, I give you.
No, I thought this is not.
No, 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 no. Remove programs and all remaining traces of the program. I mean, everything. It's like if the program never was installed in your computer. Because, for example, when you install a web browser, there is a lot of garbage that stay there. Like, have you ever wondered why when you install like Chrome and you uninstall it and you install it again, all your settings are back to the way they were? All that information is there. But how you get rid of everything? We use the command purge, like the movie Purge.
Mhm.
Purge does that. It gets rid of every single trace of the program in the system. Everything. It cleans it. It's like you never had it in the first place. How to search for software, because sometimes you want to look for software, right? You want to listen to music. You don't have a music player. You want to look for a music player. Guess what word do we use? Search. Apt search. And because searching for software is not an administrative task, you don't have to put the word sudo in there. For example, I want to search for a video player. So I'm going to do apt search video player. I I use the colons here because I want video player to be treated as a single word. I want that to be treated as a string, not as two separate words, but a single expression. If you know programming, you will understand what I'm
Yes,
saying.
I'm
If you
taking
don't
this
know
in programming
programming,
fundamentals. That's
exactly.
why I was asking you about the case sensitive and about the quotations. Actually, taking that class
You are taking Python, right?
became easy. Yeah, Python.
Okay. Why don't we write a little Python program in my
Um,
program, .py. Print,
parentheses, quotations. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Let's run it with Python 3 because I'm pretty sure I have Python 3. That's how I took that Linux class, that programming class you took. I programmed every program on the command line. And I wasn't that good at the command line back then. Anyway, that's a conversation for another day. And if you want to learn how to write Python code in Linux, I can teach you some other time. Now,
Thank you.
and it's actually way better than doing it in Windows. Trust me, way better. Now, more useful options of the program APT. To obtain information about a package, you want to know more about it, right? Use the apt cache and show package command. Maybe you want to install the package, but you don't want to upgrade it. You want, right? Right there. Only upgrade packages. Only upgrade. I love this command over here. And I actually run this command at least once every month. That will clean all the garbage that was left behind, because sometimes you download a particular program, you remove it, but the dependencies are there. And the dependencies are no longer needed. That's just taking a space in your system that's just useless. Sometimes a particular program requires a dependency only for installation, not for running. The dependency is still there. Let's get rid of it. I run this command for that.
Those commands are only available for Linux versions,
Are
right?
only available for Debian, Ubuntu. Everything that's Debian and Ubuntu, you can use those commands on. All the derivatives of Debian and Ubuntu, all the distributions from Debian and Ubuntu can run that command, those commands that I'm teaching you right now. Now, attention. In some websites, now that you're going to be researching projects, you're going to find this, apt get. This is a deprecated version of apt, meaning it will work, but it's something that is fading away. This means the same as this. This means the same as that. I only put it there so you have it as a reference. So if you see it, you're like, the professor never talked about this. It's just a reference.
This is like get help from MacBook, right, Professor?
Huh?
It's like a get help command from for MacBook.
Uh, I don't know how that command works on Mac, so I wouldn't
Yeah,
tell you if it's the
same
same.
thing. They use the word get. So
Well, the word get here is different. It was used for something else. It's just that it's deprecated because it's no longer needed.
okay.
So it's a feature they removed from that program, and it's still there, but you shouldn't be using it anymore. That's what deprecated means. It's still there, but you just shouldn't be using it. Okay, so let's talk about PPAs. What are PPAs? Well, you see, I told you earlier that Ubuntu has 4 repositories from where to get software from, right?
Mhm.
That's too little, right? Because what if the program that I want is not on those 4 repositories? What then? To solve that problem, Canonical came with a brilliant idea of allowing PPAs, or Personal Package Archive. Any developer in the world can create a PPA, make it available, and you can put that source in your sources list, and now you can download their software. You can download their collection of software. PPAs are great, but they have a problem too. Because anybody can create a PPA, you might find corrupted software in a PPA. So you gotta take that into consideration. Every time you install software from PPAs, make sure you install it from a source that you trust, not from a random guy on Reddit, but from a software. Okay, you know what? Maybe I'll just give me 1 second, guys. Okay, I'm back with you guys. So that's something that you need to take into consideration. That PPAs are a double-edged sword, right? So you have the availability that if the software is too new, it's probably available in a PPA, and that's why you cannot install it from source, right? From the default Ubuntu sources, because every software that is in the 4 main repositories you can trust. It has been tested over and over and over and over and over, so that it's not malicious and so that it doesn't break your system. But PPAs, though, uh, you don't know. You don't know what kind of control they have. You don't have no idea. You don't know what quality control software they have. Now, some PPAs are created for development or beta, or even for alpha testing. PPAs are not guaranteed to be a stable or well-tested software. Use it at your own risk. How to add a PPA to Ubuntu? Here are the steps. To add it, you run that command over there. This will be, for example, the PPA, right? For example, for the program Telegram. I'm assuming some of you know what Telegram is. It's a WhatsApp replacement, right? Then you update your sources list doing sudo apt update, and then you just run a regular installation program, sudo apt install Telegram. That's it. You could want to remove it, just put the remove flag there, and done. It's gone. If you want to purge it, PPA purge. Done. Any question about PPAs?
No, Professor. Is there? But you were saying there is some of them software are corrupted. How do we?
No, 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 no,
It's
no.
not
I didn't
corrupted.
say
Like
that.
trust,
Didn't
like
say
the
that. I said, you need to be careful about installing PPAs because it's as dangerous as just downloading and installing from the internet and double clicking it. You have no idea. Okay, let me put it to you this way, right? You have two places to buy milk from. You can buy milk from the guy in the street that doesn't even have a registered business, or you can buy milk from Walmart. Which one of those two milks do you trust
definitely
more?
Walmart.
Right? Because they have an entity, they have quality control, they have quality assurance. The guy in the corner, you don't even know if he owns the cow. That's the thing about PPAs. Anybody in the planet can create a PPA. As a matter of fact, you can look for videos online on how to create a PPA from a Hello World application, from a
Yeah.
Python program. Anyone can. How do you trust the code? How do you trust that it's not gonna break your system? Are you gonna read every single line of code? Do you know? Are you that well? Are you that well versed in
Yeah.
whatever programming language they use, so that you can spot any malicious
Mhm.
code? You don't know, so you use it at your own risk.
Okay.
That's what I said. I personally install only. This is the way I go about PPAs. If it's a company that is trusted, that has been
Wow.
it's been out there for a while, it's probably safe to install it. If it is a random developer on the internet that just created some code, then I put it in a VM and I observe what it does.
So basically, Professor, the PPAs, what it does is just expands more the software that you can use with the Linux, right?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, you could have said better words were never said. Now you can also download what you can call installers from the internet. This is dep files, right? It's a file that has everything that the software needs, dependencies, libraries, everything is in that little file. And you can install it by just double clicking. PPAs, sorry, dep files are standard archived files. They just have everything that you need to run the program. How do you install them? You can install them with a program called gdebi or dpkg or apt. Those three programs can install them with no problem. Example, to install a dep file with dpkg, I'm installing, for example, Google Chrome over here. I went to Google Chrome's website, I downloaded Google Chrome from the website, and now I am installing it with dpkg. Look at the command that I'm using, dpkg -i for installation, and then the file. Done. I can do the exact same thing with gdebi. The only problem is that this software is not installed by default on your Linux system. So you have to install that program first. And you install it with sudo apt install gdebi. And then to install a program with the gdebi, all you do is sudo install gdebi. I'm not even know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I have always pronounced it gdebi, so I'm going to keep on pronouncing it gdebi. And that's it. It's very simple, very straightforward, not complex. Here is an example of me installing Google Chrome with gdebi. Installing gdebi first.
Why would you want to go with gdebi, Professor, if you already have
I'll
APT?
show you.
Mhm.
Well, it's just another program to do the same thing. I
Another
normally
alternative.
I
Okay.
normally don't use gdebi because I don't have a need for it. But back when I was a newbie, back when I was a newbie, right? I didn't know you could install Debian packages with apt, right? So I used to use gdebi forever until one day I started reading books on Linux, and I stopped just learning things, by making mistakes, and learned that you could do it, and I stopped using it. That was like years ago. So that was back when I decided to get better at the command line. So I started reading actual books on the command line, and actually, and then from there on, I just decided why not just using the command line for pretty much everything. Another option for installing software in Linux on the command line is the Snap Store or Snapcraft. Well, the Snap Store have created a lot of controversies in the Linux world, controversies that I'm not going to go into because they're just a matter of opinion. But this is pretty much the new way of installing software. It's very similar to app images, where the app is always on updated, and the app is always in its latest version and always working fine, right? It's very easy to install program with a snap. It's very, very easy. It is how you do it. If you want to find the program, or a snap, how they call it, you do a snap, find, and then whatever word you're looking for. Video player, for example. To install the program, you use sudo snap install vlc. To check at the list of all the snaps that are installed in your system, you do a snap list. To update, snap refresh. To remove, snap remove. Not complicated, right? This, if you ever think of what a snap is, snap packages are just a newer way of installing software. It's a different way of packaging your applications. It's a different way of installing software. That's it. That's all it is. And
Professor,
I'm pretty sure that eventually this is gonna replace APT, or at least Canonical is gonna force people into going into a snap.
I have a question, Professor.
Yeah,
So I see that you're only using sudo when it's either installing or removing, right?
because those are administrative tasks. Yes,
Okay. So
that's
what happens if I log in as an administrator user? Do I still
the
have to
only
use sudo?
user. The only users that can install and remove packages and pretty much do anything without needing sudo is the root user, which you should never log in as. Is bad practice. And any
Okay.
user who has been cleared in the sudoers file to do a specific tasks without needing the word sudo before, like I did for installation. Like I don't need in my system because I literally specify that in the sudoers file. I want to install software without needing the word sudo.
Yeah, especially because you have a Linux machine as your main OS or host OS, right?
Exactly. It's my main computer. I don't want to. I don't. Yeah, I just want to manage it the way I want to manage it. Right. In a server, I
Gotcha.
will
Thank.
never do that. I will never
Right.
do
Yeah.
that in a server. No. In a server, I don't play around with the sudoers file because, like I said, if you break the sudoers file, it's very difficult to repair. The smartest thing you can do with the sudoers file is create a backup of that file. The problem is that managing the file requires administrative privileges as well. So you see, it's very tricky to fix that. So I personally don't recommend nobody that's new to Linux to play around with the sudoers file, unless you're already well versed in computers and you don't mind, spending time reading documentation so that you can learn how to do something. Installing software using the graphical user interface. So the boring way. You have two ways. You can use the App Store. By the way, Linux came out with the idea of App Store, not Apple. People give that idea as if Apple ever did anything. They just copy.
Seem to hate Apple a lot, Professor.
I don't hate them. I don't hate them.
So
It's just,
aggressive with Apple and Microsoft.
I don't hate Apple and Microsoft. It's
No, I'm
just
not.
that I criticize what they do a lot because I criticize what they do a lot because to me, they don't do it for the sake of the user.
So let
They
me
do
ask
it.
you now, Professor. So
Huh?
the origin of Linux, it was created in United States or outside the United States.
No, you watch the history of Linux. But I'm gonna answer your
I
question. I'm
did
not
watch
gonna
a lot
be.
of videos
I'm
from
not gonna be. I'm not gonna be evil. I'm gonna answer the question anyway.
okay,
No, it started in Helsinki,
which
the University of Helsinki,
okay.
Sweden. Sweden is it? No. What is Helsinki again? Oh my God, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Helsinki. Finland. Oh my God, Finland. They make great
Oh,
vodka. How
Finland.
can I forget that? Finland. Yeah, in Finland, because Linux Torvalds is from there. Wow, that's embarrassing, man.
That's
That's
a why.
embarrassing.
That's a why.
It sucks that this video is gonna be on YouTube, man, and I'm saying something embarrassing like that. But hey, I'm drawing blanks today. I've been awake since early. I've been working crazy. So here is another way of installing program graphically. Double click it. You see, you were asking me why gdebi before, right? Because gdebi gives you the ability of double clicking and installing like if you were using Windows. Double click, install, done. That's an advantage that gdebi has that other graphical installers don't have. It's a newbie way of installing software, pretty much. And
I do see that, graphical user interface is just visually more easy for people to learn or to
yeah,
get
it was
than just
designed to
using
be that way.
command line. Right.
Yeah. Generally, if your GUI is ugly, if your GUI is difficult to use, you are just a bad designer. Your
Yeah.
graphical interface GUI has to be intuitive. It's a law of design, pretty much.
Right.
GUI has to be intuitive. The
Because
user should be
no
able.
point on it, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
there would be no point in that thing. The user should be able to figure things out by being adventurous in the program if
Yeah.
it's graphical. Because at that point, why the hell making it graphical? For example, right? When you have an application that is not intuitive, it takes a lot to learn it. For instance, Photoshop. Photoshop is not intuitive. There's no way to make Photoshop intuitive. The application is used for something very complex, which is, video, photo editing. And
Yeah.
you can do even some animation on it. But you see how many crazy options do you have there? Nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Another way of installing program graphical is using Synaptic Package Manager. It allows you to search for packages and do all of that, using a pretty tool like that. You just type the name of the package and you find it. Here is a little video. Well, it's not a video, it's a GIF, but no, or GIF. I never learned what was the right way of saying GIF or GIF. I leave that to the comedy. What's the name of that comedy?
I think that's GIF.
GIF sounds good.
Big
See?
Bang Theory.
Yeah. See? Installing program graphically, it's not difficult. It's just there. The problem is that when you're at a server, you don't have a graphical interface. All you have is a command line. So you better learn it the hard way. And not only that, when you understand how the commands work, the GUI is just a cakewalk. It's just a piece of cake. That is the real knowledge. The graphical interface is what grandma uses to go to Facebook. Come on. Sources and reference. Always a ton of books and a ton of documentation. Go read them on your own. Okay, that's this video. I'm gonna post this on YouTube today, the same way that I'm gonna post the lab for this week. If you guys have any questions to ask me, you can ask me now. And that's